go into that round of introductions. Just a reminder, name, function, company, and one sentence about why you're interested to help us keep it short and sweet. And I'm going to do you in the order that you appear in the semi-alphabetical, sometimes first name, sometimes last name that you appear on my list, which makes, oh, wait a minute, someone has disappeared. Camilla, then you are the first. If you could unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Camila. I work for the R&D department of Dutch Mills, so a wheat mill company, but we also produce texturizing and coating solutions, and also invested in an extruder, which we make expanded breadcrumbs, but we also want to expand that to make TVP, so texturized vegetable proteins. So we are interested in this project because we want to gain more knowledge about the different application possibilities with our products.
Great, thank you. Good to see you back. Chris? Chris Guel? Yes.
So, right, okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim from NGO East. I'm a R&D people, and was interested about this PPT project because NGO East we produced yeast protein. We think yeast protein also can use for plant-based meat. So we are interested about this project. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Dave, who has roped you into being here?
Sorry?
Yeah, who's responsible for making the last session we had together? You blamed Ariette for the fact that you were there.
Oh yeah, that was the reason.
I was making a bad joke. Who's
no problem. No, but I was just I would be a little bit later in this meeting, so I just popped in. Yeah, my name is Dave Young. I'm leading the R&D department at Euroma for now a little bit more than 8 years. I think I can't blame Ariette today that I'm interested in this project. I think we as Aroma believe strongly in hybrid concepts. That could be the future. Very curious about indeed the consumer insights and the consumer perception of these products. And I think we would like to learn more about possible ingredients which could interact with each other on these concepts. So yeah, very curious about the project.
Perfect. Yeah, and hearing your needs, I think it sounds like a good fit. So let's try to keep it that way. Johnny, good to see you again.
And you, Stacey, nice to see you. Hi everyone, I'm Johnny from Nomad Foods from the R&D Futures department team. And why I'm here, why Nomad are here, quite simply, we make lots of vegetable-based products. We make lots of meat and fish-based products. We strongly believe that hybrid products have a right to play in that range. And we make meat analog products, purely meat analog at the moment. But a true understanding of what the consumer wants from hybrid and how best to position that is the lack of understanding, and why I'm particularly interested in this project.
Thank you. Perfect. Gerard Smelt.
Yeah, hello. Oh yeah, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. Gerard Smelt, colleague of Dave, product developer at Aroma. Especially busy with meat products and meat substitutes, and also hybrids. And we also already what Dave said, strongly believe in hybrid products. And I'm very curious. Okay, we did some tests long time ago, 5 years ago, for some clients and internal tests. And the consumer perception is, yeah, I'm quite curious about it. Challenge also, but yeah. I like to hear the meaning of the rest of the people.
Great, thanks. I'm looking forward to harvesting your wisdom as much as possible. Manon.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Manon Kooijman, working at Kozen as a new business manager. and interested in this topic because we're working on several ingredients which could work in hybrid products. And I also saw one of my colleagues jumping in there from one of the business groups.
Perfect. Welcome. Lotte?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Lotte. I'm working for Zwanenberg, and then in the department for dry fermented sausages. Last year's working mostly on vegetarian and vegan products, but now still more and more seeing a hybrid. And I think most important topic for us is how to communicate the hybrid part to the consumer and what they would like to see or like to have in a hybrid product.
Yeah, well, perfect. Very relevant question. Thank you so much. Marika?
I'm Marike. I'm also working at Zwanenberg as a product developer in the department of canned meat products and soups and sauces, mostly as a product developer for innovations. So also been working on some hybrid concepts. And as Lotte said, we are struggling to how to communicate it to the consumer. So very interested in that.
Thanks. It's emerging as a major collective need. Thanks. Peter, hey, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you all also. I'm Peter Meeuwis, responsible for sustainability at Hilton Foods. We provide meat to Albert Heijn, and we see blended meat as a required option to fulfill our CO2 reduction commitments by 2030. It's 45% commitment, and we are in a steep learning curve on this. We have introduced a few articles now on the market, and we are having an ongoing development for short-term and long-term introductions. So yeah, what I hope to get out of this is good knowledge about available ingredient solutions and also on technologies which we can use or have to use to get the right product for our customers.
Brilliant. Thank you. Philippe.
Hello, I'm Philippe. I'm from the Simrise Group, from R&D, especially from the natural division of the Simrise Group. We are producing aroma ingredients and meat, separated mechanically meats and broths, mainly from chicken from Brittany in France. And so what is in our interest is all synergies between proteins, vegetal proteins, and meat proteins, mixes, broths, different application and use of our ingredients in the hybrid area, and especially also a special focus on the regulatory part and declaration and declarative problems linked to hybrid levels.
Brilliant. Thank you for bringing that in, and welcome. Robert.
Yeah, my name is Robert Koel. I'm a product developer within Zwanenberg, also with my colleagues Lotte and Marike. And yeah, a bit the same as they already stated, is that we are really thinking that hybrid is a good way to go. But we're really struggling what the consumer wants and what is the perceptive of a hybrid product. So yeah, that's why we want to see and hear what this project is about.
Yeah, great. And a big question, right? What is a hybrid product? Is it 90%, 10%, 50-50? That's part of the journey we're going to be on together, I think.
Do you replace the meat with a protein content or just with a different content?
Yeah. So many great questions. Thank you for bringing those in. Wieneke?
Hi, I'm Wieneke Vriends. I'm working in the same team as Manon Kooijman at Goosen. and I'm also wondering to get some more information on the hybrid meats. I'm more working on market intelligence, but yeah, I think there are a lot of unknowns for us in this group of products.
Yeah, great to have you. Thanks. Weze?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Weze. I come from Angel East, the same company with Chris, and I'm a product manager. The reason why we would like to join the hybrid project is because at the moment we use like most of the plant protein, meat protein. However, there's a third sources of the protein. It's called the microbiome protein. So I think it will be a new trend of the market, and I hope this kind of microbiome protein can be or considered by most of your like scientists most related to the meat analogs. And at the moment, Angel has a production capacity of 200,000 tons per year, and at the end of this year, 2,000 tons, and at the end of 2030, our plan is to have a 100,000 production capacity of the yeast protein. So I would suggest and introduce the yeast protein to all the research and development department that in the meat analogs. And if you need any like resources or samples from us, please do not hesitate to contact. And we join this program. Also, we would like to be more precise and a deeper research of this kind of project in this area. Thank you.
Thank you too. Sounds like a really interesting potential protein source. Meerte?
Yeah, good morning. My name is Meerte Wessels. I'm a technical sales manager within Downy Group. Downy Group is part of Royal Cozen, so some of the colleagues already introduced themselves. Yeah, we valorize side streams from the food industry, and the ingredients we obtain out of the side stream, I think, yeah, it can be quite interesting ingredients for hybrid meat concepts. So indeed, yeah, we also want to learn what do these ingredients need to do in hybrid meat concepts to be successful for the end customer.
Perfect. Another interesting new ingredient stream, getting our team excited, I'm sure. Susanna.
Good morning. My name is Susanna van Beveren. I'm from Cargill Innovation Center in Belgium. My role is new ingredients and process development lead within the global innovation team. And interest from Cargill is we have broad range of the ingredients, starting from the plant proteins till oils and fat solutions, and having also mycoprotein on board recently. So how these ingredients are fitting to hybrid formulations, and also we have also our meat businesses, so also how we can apply the knowledge to our meat businesses. And what is very interesting for us is in fact what is the border, I would say, between the meat extensions and meat hybrids from the consumer and customer's perspective?
Yeah, great question. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining. I hope what you're seeing, or I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing, which is that this shapes up to be a really highly complementary collection of people on the call, where we have fascinating protein streams, we've got deep flavor knowledge, and also, end users who are eager to pick up these solutions. So thank you for joining. I will quickly go into what are we talking about in terms of project concept. So this is a public-private partnership that we are working on developing, and I think many of you know the public-private partnerships, but just to reiterate, this is not a bilateral project where it's one-to-one with a knowledge institution and you're completely independently in the driver's seat. It's also not a deep science project where we have subsidy financing and you just hook on and watch. This project is a co-creation, and we will collectively steer the project also as it's running. So please, come on board this with the attitude of I'm going to shape this project and I'm also going to steer this project. The subsidy agency that offers this subsidy is the TKI. We often refer to it as it's the top sector agri-food. The financing ultimately comes from the Dutch Ministry of Agriculture, but this is the instrument by which they administer it. And there are some obligations of this type of project. Number one, that it's pre-competitive technology and know-how, that we build a cross-value chain collaboration, which, I mean, looking at who's on the call, check, that's done. And this subsidy is for projects that aim to both develop some deeper fundamental knowledge, but also translate that into applications. So this balance of, deep understanding and also delivering proof of concept is something we navigate together as we go. There is a preference for companies who have some commercial activity in the Netherlands, but it's open to international partners, especially if you're doing business with Dutch companies, Dutch suppliers, etc. So don't worry if you're an international, that's not a problem. We are obliged to have at least one Dutch partner, but that I think is also going to be a pretty easy check, seeing who's on the call. The project structure, our projects under TKI last typically between 2 and 4 years. Namfong, is this a 3-year one, I think? Yeah. Yes, 3 years. We're aiming for 3 years on this project. Thank you. We have too many. The Dutch subsidy will provide 50% of the project financing, but we do need matching funds. So there will be a financial contribution and an in-kind contribution expected of you to participate in this project. The in-kind contribution is pretty flexible. So work that you're doing in parallel, knowledge that you bring in, samples that you bring in, time that you're spending engaging with the project, all sorts of things are possible under in-kind, and we will have a dialogue one-to-one with our partners as we go forward, defining what that is. And partners are also asked to make a cash contribution. We just need that in order to qualify for this subsidy, because there's a hard minimum of 25% of the project budget needs to be contributed by cash. We aim to put that between 30 and 40K per partner per year, times 3 years. If you are an SME, especially a Dutch SME, if you qualify as that, then your contribution is negotiable. I didn't flag anyone on this call that I think qualifies as that, but if you do, reach out to me and we can talk about it. Our aim is to make this as accessible as possible, also for small companies. As we go, the project is governed by a project committee, and what I like to stress is that Wageningen has 1 vote in the project committee, and each of our partners has 1 vote in the project committee. So please feel that we are equals in developing and executing this project. That's the intention. We'll put forward an idea today, but we want you to bring in your priorities and to help us shape this based on your needs. That same project committee also governs IP. So also, I know for many companies, this whole IP thing is a bit intimidating to navigate. Please know that the decision to protect anything, to develop patents, et cetera, that is also a collective decision that we make by committee. And the same with dissemination. So from Wageningen, and because the subsidy agency supports us in this project, of course, we like to put some things out into the public domain, but we will have a clear process by which you are a partner in deciding which things we put out in the public domain. So hopefully that gives you some comfort. And then in 1 sentence, summarizing a 30-page consortium agreement in terms of IP, ownership follows inventorship, which should be a familiar principle. Non-protected IP, so if we didn't patent something, you can apply it directly and there's no further need to discuss. If we decide to patent something and Wageningen was the inventor of that patent, then you can get a license, but we need to document that we transfer that license at a fair market rate. And there's a whole lot more to say on that, but I will leave it for today. And as we're going ahead, if you're unfamiliar with this type of consortia, please schedule a one-to-one with me. I'm happy to walk you through it in more detail. And with that, I will happily hand over to Namfong. If you had questions about this, please write them down. We'll do all the questions at the end of the presentation. Namfong?
Thank you, Stacey. Good morning, everyone. My name is Namfong Hamlet. Today, together with my colleagues, Monique Fingerhoops, we will share with you what we have in mind for this project idea. So the name of the idea is HyBoB, best of both. So it hybrid meat solutions. Next, please. So the problem that we have seen here, at least in the Netherlands, is that the meat consumption is really not declining as fast as we wanted in order to achieve the 50% plant animal protein balance for 2030. What we also observe in the market is that many hybrid products have been introduced, but then also disappear. So it does not, this category does not have a prominent position in the supermarket, as we can see with fully plant-based products. So that, yeah, we think that this could be a solution for the balance of the plant animal proteins, but also there's still a lot of space for development. Next, please. So this slide, I think, would
I would say forward. Can you hear me? I think so. Okay. Okay, this is a slide on consumer behavior. Food choice behavior is really complex. People do make a lot of choices automatically, but also some choices they think about. But there are a lot of goals competing within even person's brains, right? What's important for them? So sustainability, welfare, fair trade, price, habits you have, of course. It should taste good, it should be healthy, well, relate to hunger and satiation. So there are a lot of goals which are competing when you make a food choice. So making the choice is not so easy for people. Can you show me the next one? Yeah. So if you look very roughly at drivers and barriers, looking into these hybrid products, well, the main one is taste, right? The taste should be good, but also health and nutritional value are very important drivers. The price and neophobia. Some people don't want to taste new products. And then looking at opportunities and questions for HyBoB. Well, we need to, so the consumer was already mentioned quite by a lot of you. So what should we take into account when you look at the consumer? Well, questions are the visual appearance. Should it look like meat or should it be clearly hybrid? Should the price be cheaper than meat, or do we think of price parity? What are nutritional expectations of consumers when they look at this product? And how relevant are they? I think they are, but how relevant are they? And when you come to communication and labeling, should you highlight the taste and health? Should you highlight that you have plant-based ingredients? Should you highlight the sustainability? How to brand or name the products? And the benefits should be mentioned very clear, of course, positive and transparent. And for the project, and also for the application in the end, I think it's very important to look at the different consumer segments there are. See how if you want to target them, or target all consumers at the same time, or if you want to target specific groups. And you can think, for example, segmentation, meat eaters, flexitarians, etc. But also parents, young adults, they have different needs. Look at their expectations from what's on a product and how do you advertise it. And of course, last but not least, they should be tasty. So sensory is also important in this project. This is it.
Yeah. So on this picture, you can find quite some information, background information on hybrid meat product. Not as many that you can find for plant-based product. But there's quite some study done on also the consumer behavior, consumer perception toward meat, toward hybrid products. And also some fundamental research on the food system, where you incorporate ingredients from the plant side, also from the animal side, to product development. There's also some attempts to produce different products using a combination of proteins from plant and protein from animal. Please. At WFPR a couple of years ago, we also had a project, a PPP project, similar to this idea, where we also developed together with KNS, Koninklijk Nederlandse Slagers, so Dutch Royal Butchers, and the school SPO vakopleiding, where they want to introduce the hybrid meat concept for the students in their portfolio at the school. In this project, we developed a 70-30% ratio between meat and plant, where we can also make mince and sausages. So with the problem identification and also what the insight that we have at this moment, this is the aim and the approach that we have in mind for this project. We put the consumer at the core of the project. So we will start with the study on the consumer motivations and hesitation toward the hybrid meat products. And then we will also evaluate the sensory properties of the commercial and the newly developed products. We will map the synergies and challenges for the formulation of hybrid products in terms of textures, taste, juiciness, and of course also food safety. And with all this information, we will develop a kind of hybrid strategy toolbox so that the industrial partner can use and tailor to their own product lines and their own consumer segments. And of course, in the end, we would like to assess the economic gain and the sustainability of the production of hybrid meat products. And with that, we have proposed structure for the project with three main work packages, starting with work package 1 on consumer acceptance, and work package 2 on product quality and development, and work package 3 on economic analysis and sustainability evaluation. Please. So this is just a repeat of what we have already discussed. The content of the three different work packages with three focus, triangle to the final toolbox. So work package 1 will focus on consumer perception and acceptance, and work package 2 will focus on the development of hybrid product concepts, and that will mainly focus on the synergy between animal and plant proteins. And there we have to, together with the whole consortium, we have to define the range of the hybrid products, because we're not aiming for one single product, but we aim for the range, and how broad the range is determined by the consortium. And then at the end, when we already establish a product concept and also processes used, we will perform economic analysis and sustainability. But there also the in-kind contribution of partners is highly appreciated, because we will need information on the processing condition in order to perform the analysis and evaluation. Please. So with that, we will have the result of the project will be the insight into the consumer drivers and the barriers toward hybrid meat, and the map of the synergies and challenges of hybrid formulations. The focus will be on textures, taste, juiciness, and food safety. And then in the end, we will have a toolbox in which we will have hybrid product development strategies for the partners to use in the future, and the assessment on the economy and also sustainability. I think that is more or less what I have. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, I had a moment of finding my mouse. Thank you, Nampong. Great, and I hope that reflects the needs and input that you've brought in. So now we open it up for your feedback, your questions, your comments. My goal is usually to hear from everyone as we go, but this is a big group that we have today, so I will not force you to comment, but I would say that I love it if we hear from each company at least once, with question or comment or suggestion on how we can improve it. So who would like to volunteer to go first? I won't put you on the spot.
Yes, I would like to start, Stacey. I think I ended during the last session, so now I will start in this session.
Perfect.
I think first of all, I think I really liked the setup of the project. Especially it's really focused on consumer perception. I think that and the consumer acceptance. I think that's as we said up front, I think that's the main challenge. So I think that is good to see that is focused in the product in the project. Actually, we had some question. Maybe it's too much in detail, but on one of the slides, I think a clear hybrid product was mentioned. I I was just wondering what you really mean with a clear hybrid product.
I think I wrote that, right? That was on this slide I presented. Yeah, I meant it is clearly visible that there are plant-based ingredients in there. That's
Okay.
what I meant.
Okay, clear. Yeah, and the part what I also like, but okay, I can imagine that it all depends on the partners who will join. Is of course all the possible combinations and the impact or the effect of all the combinations is really interesting, and that you create some sort of map of possible interactions and possible ingredients and what is needed to maybe if it's needed, you never know, but what is needed to improve the product on texture, on juiciness, but also on flavor. So yeah, a really interesting project.
Thank you. And thank you for the question as well. Yeah, I think we sort of tossed around in the run up to this and in discussing with some partners. I mean, a hybrid can be anything, right? From visible vegetables in it to something where it's completely invisible. Like, and that's just one of the big open questions. I think that we have so many open questions, but
yeah.
One of the many. Yeah, thank you for raising that, Dave. Weisei.
I have some questions regarding this project. The first is you already mentioned that the hybrid was mainly focused on the the plant-based protein. Will you included the microbiome protein inside?
Namfong, do you want to jump in? When we say plant-based, is microbial protein in scope in your definition, or a yeast-based or a mycoprotein?
Yes, I would also include that.
Yeah, I think we don't have really good language for plant and microbial, and the titles tend to get very long. But usually the line for us is plant and microbial, but preferably not cultured meat, not precision fermentation, and not anything insect-based. Sometimes people even go that far that call insects plant, but plant plus microbial, I think, is for us usually in scope for quote unquote plant-based foods, even though that's not technically 100% correct. Yeah.
Another question is for these hybrid meats. Probably the prices and the flavor is quite different with the meat product. So what's your target consumer in this case?
Yeah. Well, that's something I think we have to define together. Like I said, we are not aiming for one target group, or we also don't aim for one single product, but we have to define what are our target consumer segments and what are our target textures of the product, the range. So that's something that that we don't have a fix, not set in stone.
Okay, thank you.
And I think also maybe from different markets, not just the segment, but also if it the Dutch market or the German market, then may also be different. So that's something we have to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, you can very easily picture the situation that you have a different product for the classic meat eater with just a bit of plant added than for a flexitarian who might be willing to tolerate or even attracted to something that is more plant. I think that's part of the journey that we'll be on, is discovering, the goal is to make impact. How do we get there? Which strategy for which consumer? Yeah, great question. Thank you. Robert.
Yeah, I don't really have any questions, but I just want to emphasize that the way you are handling this project is really what we are also looking for. So at first we need to know what the consumer wants. What is their perceptive of hybrid concepts? Is it a product with, as we stated before, with just replace the meat with some starches, or a side stream of vegetables, or does it need to be protein sourced, soy, pea, or whatever? So first we need to know this question, and then afterwards we have to know how we can incorporate this in our products in entire, and then also make it economical viable. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this project, to be honest. So and it's just too big to answer all the questions right now. But yeah, this is I was looking for something like this. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's great to hear. Completely recognize all of the questions that you raised. Yeah, good to hear that it's resonating. Brilliant. I'm not keeping a list of companies we haven't heard from, but I know there are a lot of you.
Yeah, I can jump in next, actually.
Great.
So I won't repeat things that have already been said, but I just echo, yeah, the consumer-centric nature of the project plan, I think, is excellent and completely necessary in this space. I did have a kind of a question, because that consumer understanding topic is so broad that we want to understand, and this, do you already have in mind what kinds of initial consumer studies or methods maybe you would use to start such a big question? Because that's an area that I don't have expertise in, and something I can see as being incredibly challenging.
Yeah, great point.
Question. Yeah, that's a good question. I think we should start with something like a survey or focus groups, very dedicated. But first, together with you, sit together with the partners. What are your focus and ideas? What target groups do you have in mind? Then we can have targeted focus groups and surveys as start. And then later on, we will do studies with tastings. That would be my approach for now. But you know, co-creation, so feel free to add ideas.
No, that's great. Thank you. I understand. I mean, I'm asking a very difficult question right off the bat there, because it's something that I don't understand. So maybe there's others on the call that have opinions they want to add. But thanks, and I'm very enthusiastic about the project. I think building that foundational knowledge will probably unveil different opportunities, as you're alluding to, for different consumer groups, which is very exciting. I think if we try and do one case fits all for all consumer groups, nobody will be happy, would be my hypothesis starting off.
Thank you, Johnny. I share that wisdom. And I think what Monique is bringing up is also something that we've discussed briefly with some of you in developing this concept. You have to kind of start with surveys, but we hope over the course of the 3-year project that we don't end just with surveys, because we know that sort of what people tell us they want to do is not always what happens in practice. So we really hope that we will also develop ways to get people tasting or sort of showing us their intention to buy a product, or giving us more sort of clear signals than just, oh yeah, I'm potentially interested in that in a survey. But of course, because there are big questions, many questions, surveys are the easiest way to start, right? That's the very first way you get data. You're still smiling, Monique, so I'm not saying anything that's great.
I completely agree with you.
Great. All right. Other thoughts or comments?
Yeah, maybe I have one more question. So there was told that an output of the project would be a toolbox, but what would this toolbox look like? Will it be recommendations in a report? For example, what texture is desired by the consumer, or how should I see the toolbox?
Great question, thank you.
I think from the product development, that would be the interaction between ingredients, the synergies. If you combine ingredient A with B, what will happen under a certain processing condition, what kind of textures that you will get. And then I think from the consumer part, that could be the overfill, the fibers, and the barriers.
Depending on target groups.
And then, of course, also sensory properties, and then we will try to connect on the dot together.
Namfong, do you envision coming to the level of preparing or producing model products within the vacuuming part of the exercise, or are you mainly hoping that more on the development proof of concept that will be in kind from partners, or is that still open?
Yeah, I would like to develop product concepts, a model system, but then it should be further developed by the partners. For instance, to add in specific flavors or to use specific equipment in their facilities. And then ideally, we also would like to have that tasted by the consumers.
Yeah, I think it's important to say that having material that we can use will be an important. There comes a moment in a project where we really want to be able to have consumers tasting and interacting with products. And for us, it's therefore really important that we have producers on the project, either with a pilot plant or, willing to prepare samples that we can use. Because from Wageningen, when we do productions, it's for technical learnings, but not in a food grade way to serve to consumers. We do have one food grade extruder, but we're more comfortable when that's done by our partners. Yeah, great point. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I promise I'm not going to force you to jump in and comment, so I won't. Then we'll just go into the timelines, heading for the subsidy. Oh, yeah, Dave, come back. Sure, welcome.
Yeah, I have an additional question. I think looking at all the companies which are in the call, Stacey, do you have in mind a certain ideal combination of companies? So not company names, but let's say end producers or ingredient suppliers. You already have something in mind. What would be ideal for this consortium?
Yes, all of that. Well, I mean, let me say, this is clearly a sort of a shared challenge that has really hit a nerve, which is great. And I'm really happy to see ingredient suppliers on the call who have a protein source or who have a plant-based component or plant-based or microbial, who have a source that we could be sort of adding in that gives us access to today's generation of ingredients, but also potentially next generation ingredient. I think that is brilliant and also gives us the capacity to develop even better. I'm really happy to see the flavor component here because taste is such a massively important part, and that's something where I think that within the flavor houses, the spice and herbs business, you have so much knowledge to bring. And that's so important to putting anything in front of the consumer. Like as Wageningen, we're sometimes tempted to put a model product in front of the consumer, but that's really not going to give us the data we need on the best case scenario. Hey, if we make this taste brilliantly, how does it fit for you? So that's great. And we're going to, I hope, work hard to keep that knowledge and expertise inside of the consortium as we go forward developing it. And then, on the end producer, it's great to see a good turnout from the B2C companies. This consumer knowledge, this is a sort of a shared need, right? We're developing deep understanding of consumers. The project does not go into, it's not about product development. It's really about that sort of deep learning. What are the shared barriers and what are the strategies that could help us overcome those shared barriers? So I see it being potentially pre-competitive there. What's also possible is, if people are feeling slightly uncomfortable, is to dive in and talk about, hey, what are your priority products? And if we have somebody who's into, not to name names, but if we have anybody who's into frozen fish sticks, I mean, that's completely compatible with someone who's wanting to do a dry aged sausage, right? That we're not going to step on each other's toes in that way. And that's a dialogue that we'll have going forward to see how do we make it comfortable for everyone, and make sure that we're scoping a pre-competitive project. Does that answer? Thank you for raising that, Dave. That's a very relevant point.
Yeah, that answers my question.
Yeah, okay. What we don't have, I mean, if I just think out loud, what I don't see represented on the call is a processing company like a Marel or a Banger is now part of Marel, or one of those sort of equipment suppliers. I don't immediately know if we need that, but that is a collection of organizations that we could reach out to if we identify that there's a clear sort of role or something that we would want to get from them, if we think there are major processing bottlenecks in what we're planning to do. Any more last thoughts, any responses to that? Anything in the IP part or way of working that wasn't clear to you? I asked you to hold those questions for now too. I run through that pretty quickly. Welcome to pose those as well. Okay, we're going to do timelines. Good. So just since there are some new folks on the call, I don't know if you've been through this process before. If you have, some of this will be similar to previous years. Oh, I keep losing my mouse. Hang on a second. There we go. So the call opened in April, and as I said, the financing comes from the Dutch Ministry of Agriculture, which means there are certain goals set out in the call. We need to contribute, for example, to sustainable food systems, but this project is fully aligned to the priorities of the call, so no need for you to worry on that front. In May, we opened this process to recruit partners. We had an info session, a broad info session about all of the PPPs in development. And now we are kicking off the process for this specific one with this info session today. The next phase after today is we go into co-creating the project content. And what we'll be looking for is a collection of companies for whom this resonates very closely to their needs and goals, and who would want to potentially be a part of this project. This is not legally binding. It's not even, deep emotional binding to the project. But if this is a fit for you and you would like to co-create it with the intention to come aboard, understanding all of the context, you have internal stakeholders, et cetera, we would love to have a discussion session to involve you in a deep dive, or even just to be able to interview you, that our researchers spend an hour with you, sort of pick your brain. What are your challenges? What are your wishes? What deliverables do you want to see? So we'd love to have some volunteers who want to help co-create this project. And that might sound intimidating, but again, even if all you have to offer us is a half an hour that we can pick your brain, love that. Please, volunteer yourself. We really appreciate any time you can give us in that process. By the end of July, I will ask you for a clear expression of, hey, we are interested in staying connected to this project. We have an intention to participate or not. I know that feels like it comes quite soon, but because of the European summer holiday and the difficulty getting in contact with everyone across that July-August period, we really need a good head count by end of July if we're headed for the September 1st deadline. September 1st, we have our full proposal submission to the TKI agency. By that time, I need a clear yes or no whether to include you. Some of you who've been with us in years past may be accustomed to delivering a letter of support for the project or a letter of intention to participate. That is no longer required from the subsidy agency, but I'm comforted by having a written confirmation from you that this topic is of interest for you. So we will submit with a list of company partners named in that, which means you have a firm commitment. So by then you should have also discussed with your internal stakeholders and really have an intention to be part of this project. I updated this in the most recent versions because I heard that it might be slightly longer. It's probably early November that we get the subsidy grant notification. Sometimes it comes in end of October, but for your expectations, if you're thinking early November, maybe we're surprised in a good way. And then we go into the contracting process, and that's the moment when you make a legally binding commitment to the project. The TKI subsidy website does have a model contract available on the website if you want to see what that contract looks like. It's a 30-page document. It's a bit of a headache if you're not an expert in it. If you want me to explain it in layman's terms, please reach out. I'm happy to go over it with you so you understand what the conditions are. Please, if you're not sure, or if you know that your company has very specific IP policies, please do reach out to me on that, because what I don't want is that we go all the way through this process and we discover next February that the contract is incompatible for you. So please, don't hesitate to ask that question or to raise that dialogue so that we know sooner than later whether that's a challenge. And this round of projects will be ready to kick off when we finish the contract, which usually is April, so end of Q1, early Q2 2025. So with that, that's it. The very concrete next step, the thing that happens is I will be sending around this recording. I will send you also a PDF of the slides. You're welcome to share those with any colleagues that you think would be interested or with whom you want to discuss this project. No problem at all. And I will ask you in that email to send a response probably within about a week time to me to let me know if you're interested or willing to dedicate some of your time to digging into this project content a little bit more. And even if you're not available to spend time on that, if you let me know if you want to stay involved in this project or not. An early no is very helpful for us because it avoids us having an inaccurate headcount. It also avoids us being worried about any competitor issues when, if you're not committed to the project. So if you just drop me a line and let me know where you are, a yes, no, or a maybe, that's incredibly helpful for us. Did I forget anything, Nampong? No? Okay. Any last burning questions from the crowd? No, in that case, we're finishing. This is a new record. I've never been 4 minutes ahead of schedule. Thank you all so much for the good discussion, the efficient meeting, and we look forward to keeping in touch. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.